My name is David Halperin, and I am born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and then the surrounding suburbs. We were a very light Reform family. Started to attend South Shore Temple at the time on the south side of Chicago. My parents divorced when I was 7, and we moved to the western suburbs of Chicago, near where my mother worked. So we didn't go to temple anymore, and being Jewish just became something that we didn't really do. So we lost connection with heritage, and was like that throughout my early adult years. I went to the University of Illinois, studied there, graduated. Then a few years later, I saw an ad in the paper. It was during the first Gulf War, just before the first Gulf War, about a volunteer trip to Israel. I said, well, I'll do that. Signed up for that, went to Israel with Sarel. I was placed on a kibbutz. Shortly after that, it was April of that year, we're out planting grapefruit trees. We came under fire from terrorists at the time. We didn't know what was going on. I was shot and wounded. My friend was killed. The kibbutznik was killed. There were 4 of us. And then the other kibbutznik survived and was able to get back to the kibbutz to get help. And the kibbutzniks basically put down their lunch, literally picked up their rifles, and came and got us out of the attack. I couldn't walk. I was wounded at the time. It was a long recovery in Tel HaShomer, and then on the kibbutz after that. I had to learn to walk again. So I came back from Israel, I believe it was 92, August of 92. And for a couple of years there, I was pretty lost. My parents died in my mid-20s, so I had a lot of extreme experiences within a span of a couple of years, and I was pretty lost at the time. Spiritually, I didn't know what to make of it. Emotionally, wandering through life, I guess, and didn't really know what to make of much. So much of my world had collapsed, the world that I knew. Previous to being hurt, I was a national championship athlete, so being put in a wheelchair for a while shook the foundation of who I thought I was, really. I was taking a Hebrew class in downtown Chicago and met a young woman there about my age. She was from the former Soviet Union, and she talked about Chabad and the Rebbe. I said, I don't know anything about the Rebbe or Chabad at all. And so that was kind of my first introduction to Chabad. So I was walking through, coming out of the subway, and I see a New York Times paper, and I don't read the New York Times. I'm from Chicago. I read the Chicago paper. It's pretty localized. But I saw this full-page ad of picture of the Rebbe, and what he said about turning pain into action, tears into growth. And I thought that really resonated with me, because I had a lot of pain at the time and a lot of tears. So I bought the paper, which I never do, and I cut this out, put it on the wall back in Chicago, and it was just I looked at it for inspiration, and always reminded me of there's a way out of this darkness that I was living. So when I saw this photo of the Rebbe and the words, it was as if he was personally reaching out to me. I mean, it was the connection I felt was like being drawn in. I mean, like he was personally talking to David Halperin. I mean, only me. That's truly what it felt like. Even today, to look at it again, I mean, it's very uplifting just to see it again. So I then fast forward, moved to Alaska. I folded it up, put it in with my things I want to keep special, and kept it for a long time. Shortly after I moved permanently to Alaska, and then met Rabbi Greenberg and Esty Greenberg, and slowly learned more about the Rebbe and about Chabad, and the richness and the joy of it, and the light that was just shining through this photo of the Rebbe, and I guess everything happens for a reason, right? Wow, so today, having my own pair of tefillin, I try to do it as much as possible, but I live in Alaska a lot, and the darkness and my work schedule sometimes doesn't permit me to do it every day, but I do it quite a bit, and it's very meaningful for me, and it keeps me my mind in the right place, and the connection to Judaism that I feel through it is something I've been looking for all my life, even though I didn't know I was looking for that. So when Rabbi Rebbe came to Alaska, but he had another baby, and I wanted to honor it in a meaningful way. But I thought, well, this is perfect. So I went and found the paper I had cut out, and to honor the Rebbe's work that continues, it says right here, as his children are alive, he is alive. And the work of reaching out to Jews unaffiliated all over the world, and that it is able to draw people in, it just shows that he's really still with us. The relationship is still, that the Rebbe has with the Jewish people is active and alive as it ever was, in my opinion.